welcome to another edition of Betfair trading for beginners. Today I want to do something a little bit different again, in that I want to go through some data I've managed to get hold of. I'm not going to dwell too much on the data because A, it's not mine, and B, probably shouldn't be shown to people. I suppose it's not copyright or anything like that, but it's obviously work that somebody else has done, and I don't really want to fall foul of somebody doing that work. What I am going to try and do is find a source where I can capture my own data, but I just thought I'd use this just to begin with for this video, just to show you how to analyze past results. This is for an under 2.5 strategy, which I'm currently running on BF Bot Manager. If I just highlight that column A there, you can see down here there's nearly 1400 matches in here from February. So it goes February, March, April basically, so the last 3 months this person's done this for. Like I say, I'm not going to dwell too much on the data, but we have got country, league, and the date and time. I have put a column in here to put the date in, because when you try and group by this and pivot tables in Google Sheets, it goes bananas, it errors out because there's too many combinations, because there's a different value for each time in the day. So I've just created a new column and just copied over the date part of the date and time. We've got the home team, we've got the away team, and then we've got the odds for laying the draw. I've got laying the draw in the mind. Sorry, for the under 2.5s. So this game here, for example, the odds were 1.71 for under 2.5 goals. And then here you can see whether the bet won or lost, and then here you can see the profit. All these bets here are based on a £10 stake, so you can see this one lost, this one won, and we won £6.86 because our stake was £10 and the profit was £6.86, and because the odds were 1.7. I'm assuming this isn't 7, it's 6.86 because the Betfair commission's been taken off the 2% commission, so the profit is minus the Betfair 2% commission. So just bear that in mind. That would have normally read £7 there, but it's £6.86. Okay, so that's the data, and that's what we've got to work with. So what I really want to do is analyze how much we've won. I mean, out of this 1400 bets, you can see we've won 757 there, and the profit is £468 profit on £10 stakes, which is great. So I've already constructed a few pivot tables. If anybody wants to know how to do pivot tables in more detail, then let me know in the comments, and I can do another tutorial on that. But I thought it'd be just quicker to get it together beforehand. Another reason I'm more experienced with pivot tables in Excel rather than Google Sheets, but I just had this data in Google Sheets at the time, so rather than put it into Excel and do it there, I thought I would just do it here. So looking at the first pivot table I've got, actually it's actually my second, but I'm going to show you it first, and I'm going to show you the third one, and I'm going to show you the first one, because the first one's not as relevant as I thought it might be, although there is some useful information in there. It just summarizes the data. So this pivot table here, I'm grouping everything by odds. So you can see that between odds 1.5 and 1.75, we've won 226 out of 385. And that means the strike rate's 58.7, which is just the number of, it's basically the 226 divided by the 385 gives you 58%. So you've won just over half. You've won nearly 6 out of 10, or 5.87 out of 10 matches bet on. You can see the profit there's minus £154.21 at those prices. When we get to 1.75 to 2 for the odds, we've won 303 out of 527, so we have put more bets on at that price range than the top column, but the percentage is more or less the same, a little bit under, but the profit is 302 £25. You see that? So once you've done your pivot table, what you really need to look for is patterns across it, and it's great. The best scenario is where the patterns are all congregated at the top or the bottom, because then you can use the middle. If the patterns are like alternate down here, down these rows, then it's more or less not telling you much, because you know there'd be no reason to get on matches and have a better percentage rate at 2 to 2.25 here than it would be here and here and here, but not there, and there in between, if that makes any sense. You're looking for patterns at either the top of the table or the bottom of the table. Now immediately there, it's not so much a pattern, but I could break this down further if we wanted to. You can see that we're looking at a pattern there. I know it's only one category, but I would immediately think to myself, well, hang on a sec, why don't we not bet on matches that have a price of 1.5 to 1.75, because we're just losing money on them. We're winning half, but we've lost £154. And if we've done that, if I highlight these columns here underneath and we take out that category, you can see if you look down here in the bottom right hand corner, we would have had £622 profit if we'd only bet on the range of 1.75 through to 6.75. So I would immediately think to myself, right, I'm not going to put any more bets in on anything under like 1.75. I'm going to start at 1.75. Similarly, if we look at the bottom here, there's one bet between 6.75 and 7. I don't know if that's a typo. That was actually a game that had odds. I've never seen odds of over 6.75 for under 2.5 goals. Must have been two pretty boring teams, put it that way. Anyway, it lost. Maybe a typo, I'm not sure. And then you've got two games that were between 3.5 and 3.75. They both lost. You've got then 4 games that were 3.25 to 3.5, and 2 of them out of the 4 ones, that's 50%, and we did actually win £26 on those 2 games, minus the 2 losses for the 4 games. That's a good return, because obviously the 2 games would have been high. I don't even know how that stacks up. It seems too high for only winning 2 out of 4 when you've lost 2, and the 2 that were lost would have been minus £20. That means we've won £46.55 on these 2 games. So one thing I want to show you with pivot tables, if you're not familiar with them, is you can actually drill down into the data, and it's a really useful tool. Some people possibly don't know that you can actually do it. That's even if you know about pivot tables in the first place. But you see, if I highlight this number 4 here, I'm going to say, right, let me have a look at these 4 matches then. So all you do is, if you double click on that 4, it'll break the 4 rows out into a separate sheet. So if I just double click on it now, as you can see down here, it's created a new sheet called Detail 6 to 3.5, Detail 6 3.5 to 3.25 to 3.5, and these are the 4 games. So you can see that, it does actually work out. You can see that the 4 games that we've put the money on. So it's split. It's so you've got like PSG there, which I'm very surprised. They're at home to Saint Etienne on the 26th of the 2nd. I'm very surprised that I probably wouldn't have placed that bet myself, but I think closer to the February there's more data, because everything was being assessed and monitored, whereas I think later on the person's actually started tweaking it by taking leagues out and things like that. So we've got more data in February than we have in like April, for example. So it may be that they wouldn't put bets in at this price now. But anyway, you can see the 2 games that won for £22.54 and £24 were won, and the 2 games that lost. See, I've got a £26 profit more or less there. which is what we said. So that's what I tend to do, is just to tidy up. I normally, once I've finished looking at this drill down data, I normally right click on the tab and just delete it, just to keep the spreadsheet tidy. Get rid of the sheet and go back to here. So we've got two options here. We can we can say, okay, well, we'll still do 3.25 to 3.5 because it's been profitable. But that means we're going to include these two non-profitable categories. So if we go from there and highlight up to here, you can see that now with profit here is 652 or 622 before, so that's gone up an extra 30 quid. What you could do though, if you wanted to be extra safe, because it's still a bit flaky around this area, yeah, we've had good profits between 3.25 and 3.5. It's only 4 sample set though, we could do with more. Like I say, either the source data originator has stopped betting on these lower numbers, because the very low, to be honest, the high odds won't happen that often. I mean, the under 2.5 for PSG was obviously high odds, because you'd expect them to score probably 2.5 goals every home game in any case, playing in the league that they do. But if we took it from there and just took those 4 categories there, so we're looking at odds from between 1.75 and 2.75, if you see that's the minimum odds and that's the maximum of these 4 categories, we'd have been looking at a £648 profit, and every single one of those categories is in profit. And they're all just averaging out at about, if I look at the average, if I click on here, down here, you can see here the average is 50.43, so we're only actually winning half the trades, but we're actually up £648, and that's not a bad return for one strategy over 3 months if you wanted to go that way, looking at just those odds. So that's fine and dandy for that. That's one way of looking at things by the odds. What I wanted to do was just group this a little bit better, just to see if I could find any pattern with this minus 154. So I just want to show you that anyway. If you right click on the group odds, and you can edit your group, you can see here I've got a minimum value of 1.5, which is there. I've got maximum value of 7 because the highest one is 7, which I still maintain is probably a typo. And then interval size is 0.25. So if I wanted to actually look at the 1.5 to 1.75 section and break that in a bit more detail, I could set my minimum value at 1.5, set a maximum at 1.75, and then have like 0.5 or 0.2 or 0.1 in between. I go for do 0.5 to start with, which will only give me a few sorry, I've done that wrong. It's not 0.5, it's 0.05. Fool that I am. Fool that I am. Sorry, it's 0.0. It's 0.05. Not going up in half increments, because 1.5 would take you to 2. Okay, so there we go. Ignore the greater than 1.75. That's just the remaining of the data. It's grouped separately. So you can even see here that, like I was saying before, where it's alternating. This is a great example of that. Luckily, I've not even prepped any of this beforehand, other than the pivot tables themselves. But if you look at this one, this is that one's 66%, that one's 63%, and the others are in the 50s. But the ones that are in the 50s have lost money. So that's a good example of how it alternates. You've got minus 43, 22, minus 135, 52, and then minus 33. You can see here this is the biggest loss, the 135, and that's for odds between 1.6 and 1.65. And it's still won about half, which is 37 out of 73, but there's massive losses on it. So that would just confirm to me, you know, if we'd had like, say, the top 2 or 3 had been big negatives and then the next 2 had been big positives, I would have probably made the cut off at 1.65 instead of 1.75, but I'm happy that I've still got negatives here between 1.7 and 1.75, so I'm still happy that I'm still happy that I'm starting at 1.75 and getting rid of this whole group. Like I say, it could go down to another level here, but I don't think it's worth it. But I'll just show it anyway. I don't think it's worth it in this example because it's not going to show anything more than what we've just seen really. I would never break it down to this level. But you can see that actually we've got the same scenario there. You could potentially add those in. So you see how 1.73 to 1.74 is a good profit, and 1.74 to 1.75 is a good profit. So instead of starting at 1.75, I might take the decision to start at 1.73. Again, it might be coincidence, but there is quite a few games here that have been collated. You know, we've got data on quite a few games here. We've got 44 in that pot, we've got 27 in this pot, and we've won again. Probably been lucky there to win 18 because that's 66% and we don't get many numbers that high. But then when you look up here, we've got 100% there. We've won 8 out of 8 games out between 1.57 and 1.58. But I think that can just be down to sort of luck, or overall we're losing in this category, so I'm happy to ditch the whole lot and start at 1.75, or if we wanted to start at 1.73. Okay, so that's how. Just put this back. Actually, I'll probably just click undo twice. Right, so just put that back. So you can see how that, if we hadn't made those trades on those 385 games, we would have only actually bet on there, instead of 1,398, there would only have been 1,013, so just over 1,000. So we're cutting out probably a good quarter, 20% of the games we're cutting out, and we're getting rid of minus a 54 loss, minus 154 pounds loss, sorry. So moving on to the next table, which I think based on the data we have is a good one. So we've looked at odds, and then this one actually looks at countries and leagues. So I've just clicked on that. I've got a bit of color coding here just so I can see the numbers, because I appreciate there's a lot of numbers here, and there's actually a lot of leagues. Well, these are just countries at the minute. But you can see at the bottom that totals always stack up to the same. We've got 757 wins out of nearly 1,400 matches, a 54.15% strike rate, and the profit was £468. So here I wanted to look at some of the 100% and zeros and have a look at some of the sort of leagues you might have seen, obviously England. But you can see here, looking at the top one, we've got a strike rate of 100%. We've won 3 out of 3 in this country. We're looking here at the same kind of thing. We won't find things at the top and at the bottom though, because all the countries are by alphabetical order on this one. So we're looking at things where we've got a 100% win, 100% loss, which is your 0% strike rate here. Because my thinking there, I know it's only 5 bets, but you would immediately look at that and think, well, hang on, I need to ditch Australia because we've won 1 out of 5. The only caveat with that is 5 isn't that many. If there'd been none out of 114, for example, then I'd be looking at probably ditching that. We need to go through here looking for patterns. Now, you have to look at both really. I mean, that one I'd take straight out, so I'd probably just mark that with an X and say, right, I'm not going to do Australia at the minute. I'd probably try and get the data in a spreadsheet like this so I could continue to monitor it, but I wouldn't be placing any bets on it. I'd be taking this league. In fact, if we click on the plus here, I'll show you how the league works for Australia. You click on the plus here and it drills down into the league. Now there's only one league here, which is A League, and so all 5 games have been placed on that league. So it's the same numbers. It's not a very good example because there's only one league. Armenia, I'd be happy enough to keep that because it's been 3 bets and they've all won. Again, very small sample size, so I'll go down, find a bit of a bit. India, 0%. Only 2 games, so I'd probably mark that to possibly take out. 2 games isn't many though, it's not enough really. It's easy to go on a running or a losing streak of 4 or 5 games, and that's irrelevant to the league. This is quite a nice looking one. Israel. We've won 40 out of 56, which is quite a high percentage. and it's quite a high data set as well. So looking for high data sets that are doing well or poorly to take out. So Israel's quite nice. We've got 71%, £99 profit on 40 wins out of 56. So if we click on the plus on Israel, it'll break down the leagues, because then we can look to see if any league's better than the other. So they're still positive and positive. Obviously that top one's the better of the two. It's got higher percentage strike rate and it's got higher profit, but we have put less trades on this other league. I'll not bore you with the names because the pronunciation won't do them any justice. So I'd be happy enough to keep those in, so I might mark that as like a Y, just to say yeah, happy with the whole of Israel, for example. So that's how we work through this anyway. You can see here we've got a £205 profit on the German leagues. We've only got a 49% strike rate, which is odd. So I click on plus to investigate the leagues. So you've got quite a few leagues here in Germany. Bundesliga's down here. These are in alphabetical order, so you have to look around for the leagues. You can see we've only done 16 bets on the Bundesliga and they haven't been very good. I'll take these out. These are on the wrong columns now. These are on the wrong rows now. I'll probably need to highlight the actual names, red and green on these columns here, rather than X and Y's, because when you're sort of expanding and collapsing these, it moves, and these don't move because they're not part of the pivot table. This is a good one here. We've won 20 out of 34 in this league. Regional and North. I'll just resize that a little bit so you can see the names. Regionalliga Nordost is a good one. That one's pretty good. The Bayern. That one not so. We've only won 9 out of 22. Might be worth ditching that one. So again, you can ditch it by country, or you can ditch by league, or you can save by country and save by league. And again, it's just a case of going through these and seeing, and it's probably pretty worthwhile because you can see some of the losses. If you take out like that minus £31 loss, for example, all it's doing is increasing your profit. When we were looking at the £460 total profit, we've already looked and seen that we could actually probably get it up to £600 by just looking at the odds. And then if we look at the leagues as well, and if you wanted one big table, you could actually implement the odds in here across the top and have the countries down the side and look at both ways. I might do a video on that at some point. It just gets a bit more complicated because there's a hell of a lot more information to look at, and these 4 columns I wanted to look at first because these were more interesting. You'd certainly do it and just have the profit in there, or just the strike rate of both of those, but you know, they would just be really busy and untidy if you had all 4 of these values in analysed by country, league, and then odds as well. But it's probably something I will look at. So the German total is pretty good, but as you can see, there are a few areas we could take out, like these regional north, southwest, and west aren't so good. So I'd probably tend to, I mean, there's not many games in them, but we've got 0 out of 1 there, 9 out of 22, and 11 out of 24, so they're all below 50%, and they're all negative. So we ditched that one, and that one, instead of making, and maybe even that top one, but instead of making 205 there, you can see if we just ditched those bottom 3, we'd be making 248 instead of 205 profit on the German leagues. And that's the kind of thing you need to look at, because I think that's the way forward, analysing the historic data. I know it's no it's no indication how it's going to go in the future. we've got 100% on Peru, but that's again not a big enough sample set. That's just obviously we're lucky we won that one. It could have easily been 0%. We've got 100% there for what's that, South Korea. But if you look at the big leagues, you've got Spain is running at minus £86. We've only won 9 out of 24. So again, it might be worth ditching some of those leagues. We don't seem to have put much on in the Spain market for some reason. I don't know if the matches don't come up or but you can see there 3 out of 9 and 6 out of 15. I'd probably ditch Spain because that's going to get you £86 profit straight away on top of what we have got. And I just wanted to look at England just to give you example of that. So England, we've got a £41 profit, 53% strike rate, 76 out of 141. So we have put a hell of a lot more bets on England than we have on the Spanish league for some reason. So if I click on England, that's what we're looking at here. So we've got 2 real bad leagues there, which is League 1 and League 2. They probably just score goals left, right and centre because they're pretty rubbish. The defences, although then if they're rubbish I suppose the attackers would be in that bracket as well. But anyway, just joking on there because I would tend to ditch those leagues. The national league's a pretty good one, which doesn't correlate to what I've just said, but I was just messing there. So that National League's probably a good one. So if we're ditched and the Championship's okay, and where's the Premier League? And the Premier League's okay, it's nothing flash, 14 out of 27, but it's £28 up. So again, you could make a decision there just in England to ditch, stop putting bets in on League 1 and League 2, and that would save you £106 down here on the bottom. And that means instead of England making a £41 profit, you'd be looking more £146 profit. So that's what you need to look at for the analysis of this. And the third table is just to show you the betting sort of history. You can see there's a lot more bets going on in February and March than there has in April, and I think that's because April and May are notoriously bad for goals being scored. Well, higher number of goals being scored across all leagues. If you look at any league, the average goals per game is higher in April and May because it's getting towards the end of the season, like for all the European leagues. So I am going to do some more work on this. So basically what's happened here is there's been a lot more bets go in because there's only about 4 days left of April now. So yeah, this is going to be expanded to have a look at the leagues, sort of the start and end dates, or you know, when they're 4 or 5 games in, or 4 or 5 games before the end, or 6 or 7 or 8 even, 8 games in and then 8 games before the end. We'll probably start and stop betting in between that window there. So you can see actually April's been really bad because you would have lost £244 in April, so that would make sense to stop in March, and then we would have actually made £712 down there if we'd stopped in March. So April's a bad time, so is me, I suspect, so I might actually stop betting on the European leagues now, just based on looking at that. And get on to have a look at the countries on this other pivot table for like Asia and stuff like that. The problem is with the eastern sort of hemisphere, there's no such thing as the eastern hemisphere. East of the world, eastern part of the world, where the games are just starting to pick up because it's coming into their winter. We don't seem to have as many totals, but that's because they haven't, I think they only just start about March, April, so we wouldn't have any data for them anyway until now. And that might well be the issue with the Australian league we were looking at before, whereby there's only been 5 bets because there hasn't been that many games yet to bet on, because it's wait until about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 games into the season before we get going. Anyhow, hope you've enjoyed the video. Just one way to look at analysing your data So I'll just wrap it up there. If you've got any questions on pivot tables, or if you have any other suggestions as well, actually I'm open to suggestions on how we can analyze this data to be used for the, you know, set with strategy pattern going forward. I'm all ears basically. Anyway, I'll wrap this one up. Thanks for watching. Cheers now. Bye.